Welcome in to Tossin the Pigskin. I'm your host, Nate Smith. Today, we will discuss all the latest NFL news. Week 5 is in the books, so we will preview the best games to come this weekend. We will break down Eagles, Panthers, and as always, we'll give you the best fantasy advice around. Let's go! Let's get right into it with a little TNB, Thursday Night Breakdown. A 24-year-old gunslinger out of North Dakota State has led the Eagles to a 5-1 start. Carson Wentz and company took down the Carolina Panthers Thursday night by a score of 28-23. In his second year, Wentz looks like the real deal. Through 6 games, he has 13 touchdowns and just 3 picks. He threw 16 touchdowns in all of last season. The Eagles' offseason aggression seems to be paying dividends as Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith have rejuvenated the Philadelphia passing attack. I was hesitant at first, but Philly is for real. Their offensive line has been pushing people around, and the defense has been swarming. The Panthers could get nothing going on the ground. They got repeatedly stuffed at the line of scrimmage. It seems the Eagles have taken the next step to becoming a quality football team. We'll see if they can keep it up down the stretch. Getting right into it, I'm joined alongside Ben, Vernon, and Vinny, Asito. So guys, obviously the Eagles looked good last night, but we got some other games to talk about here. But we'll start off with the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been the story of the league so far, 5-0, undefeated. Vinny, we'll start with you. What do you think of the Chiefs so far?
I think they're for real. I mean, Alex Smith, who is this Alex Smith we're seeing? Haven't
MVP
been used to
candidate
it.
right now.
I mean, it's come out of nowhere for the most part, and the defense, we're playing with high spirits ever since losing Eric Berry. Andy Reid looking like the coach of the year so far. Yep. So I think they're the real deal, and I think they come out of the AFC, and they're my pick to make it to the Super Bowl.
Ben, how about you?
Well, he is having a breakout year, 11 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. The run game is also good in Kansas City. Kareem Hunt is leading the league in running yards, and they have the best. They have the best percentage to go to the AFC Championship this year.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously is a big surprise. Kansas City's always had a talented roster the past few years, but it looks like they're finally putting everything together. As you mentioned, I think Andy Reid, I know it's week 6, but you got to give him Coach of the Year, unless they just blow up at the end here. I mean, what he's doing with an offense that really doesn't have that much on paper. As we mentioned, Kareem Hunt, 609 rushing yards, third-round rookie out of Toledo. Wasn't even supposed to play that much this year. You know, kind of like a Tariq Cohen situation. He was supposed to come in and provide some help for Spencer Ware. He goes down with an injury, and now he's the best running back in football right now.
Records left and right.
Unbelievable. All right, moving on. Now, complete opposite side of the spectrum, the New York Giants. Vinny, place near and dear to your heart. What's going on in New York?
What isn't going wrong in New York? I mean, the offense, the defense, the head coach, it's just a mess right now, and I don't know where it's going to lead to, but Odell Beckham's out for the year, Brandon Marshall out for the year, Dwayne Harris out for the year. I'm pretty sure we can go play receiver for this team in the current moment. I mean,
they need Ocho and Chad Johnson.
Yeah, bring back some veterans, right? I mean, and the defense, they didn't really, on paper, they're pretty much the same from last year, but they just can't get off the field because the offense can't move the ball, and now they're depleted in the receiver position. They got no weapons. I mean, it's a complete dumpster fire over there, if you ask me, and the only thing they have to look forward to is the draft at this point, in my opinion.
Ben, what do you think?
Well, just like Vinny was saying, we were all looking for the Giants' defense this year, but they're not like their 2016 self. Instead, they're ranked 26th in the league this year, and that's really bad because we all thought they were going to have an MVP defense, but they're not, and it's really attributing to their losses and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, they got things off to the rough start with that Odell injury in the preseason, and I just feel like they never got back on track after that.
He was never healthy.
Yeah, he probably never was healthy. You're right. Ben McAdoo's got to go. I think everyone agrees on that. But what's interesting to see is if they really end with a really bad record and have like a top draft pick. It's like they have so much talent, but at the same time, Odell's contract is coming up. Like, do you think they'll re-sign it? Do you think he'll want to come play for that?
I mean, they picked up his 5th-year option, so he will be there next year. But, I mean, you just got to see how it's going to play out. But if I'm the New York Giants, I think this is going to really show for the rest of the season they're going to be without Odell Beckham. So we're going to really see how that offense can perform without him. And I think the owners and the GM, they're going to be able to see that they need Odell on the field to even be in football games.
Yeah, if I'm Odell and Eli's gone in the next year or two, I don't even know if I want to come back to this team, man. So it'll be very interesting.
If they get a top 3 pick, do you take a quarterback, though?
That's tough. You got a lot of issues.
You take a running back.
I would honestly take an O lineman.
Yeah, I mean, got to rebuild somewhere.
All right, moving on here. Zeke getting suspended again, allegedly. Going through the refiling process. He's appealing, of course. Ben, if the Cowboys are without Zeke for 6 games, what does that do to them?
Well, their season's over. I'm just going to say it right now. The Eagles are doing really good. The Washington Redskins are scary. The Giants, let's not worry about them. But
yeah, no one's worried about the Giants right now.
Other than that, Zeke wasn't having a great season to begin with. He had troubles with the Denver Broncos, and they're ranked number 1. Yeah. But he's just not consistent this year, and I'm going to say that their season is over right now.
Ben, what are your thoughts?
I wouldn't say their season's over just yet. I do think Philly comes out of that division and wins the division. But with the offensive line the Cowboys have, I know it hasn't been as impressive this year. They still have a healthy Darren McFadden and Alfred Morris to run the ball. I think they can squeak in as a wild card team.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys can survive. Also, I don't think their season's over if they lose them for 6 games. Obviously, it hurts. Yeah. And as Ben mentioned, he hasn't been the same player as he was last year. You know, probably better scouting against defenses. And the offensive line, left guard's been a revolving door. Chaz Green hasn't been able to stay healthy. Jonathan Cooper hasn't been good. So they kind of got a few problems on the O-line. I think they've been playing better as of late, but as you mentioned, I mean, DMC, Darren McFadden, and Alfred Morris both were 1,000-yard rushers at one time. So if that O-line can keep improving week by week, I think they can do enough to, win some games. But they just aren't playing good football. Yeah. It doesn't really have as much to do with Zeke.
I mean, losing that game last week in the last minute, you're going into the bye 2-3 instead of 3-2.
Yeah, and the loss to the Rams was bad too.
So I mean, those are big games.
Got a couple issues over there in Dallas. Alrighty, coming up next, we will talk the weekend slate. Keep it here. Welcome back into Tossin the Pigskin. Today, we'll get back into the morning slate of games here coming up this Sunday. So first one we'll talk about here is Packers at Vikings. NFC North divisional clash. Vinny, who do we like in this one?
Well, I think it's that time of year again. Aaron Rodgers is on fire. Minnesota, they tried to get Sam Bradford in the game again against the Bears on Monday Night Football last week, but he just isn't ready, so they're back to Case Keenum. No Stephon Diggs this week. Go, Pack, go. I'm taking the Packers.
Yeah. Ben, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to take Green Bay Packers. The Vikings do have a good defense this year.
Real good.
The Packers are ranked 13 in rushing, though. So they have a decent run game, but it's going to come down to QB play, and I got to take my man Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's stopping Rodgers in this one. They do have a very good defense, good secondary, but I like the Packers as well. All right, the next morning game we'll talk about here, Lions at Saints. Ben, who do you like in this one?
I'm going to take the Saints. Yeah, Stafford has an injured ankle, so that's a little something we worry about. And Saints are known for their passing game, but they're putting up 94 rushing yards per game, so that's pretty good. They have a way better rushing game than the Lions. So,
Vinny, what do you think?
I'm going to take the Lions. I think they get a bounce-back win after losing to the Panthers last week. And we say it over and over, that Saints defense is just nothing to worry about. So I think Stafford has a day and the Lions win.
Yeah, I think both offenses have a day. I'm looking at a shootout here, but I think I got to go Drew Brees on this one. Superdome's a tough place to play. I think the Saints got rid of a big distraction, losing AP, finally just getting that off their chest. And so now they got Kamara and Ingram. It'd be a really nice tandem for them, honestly. So I think that'll be interesting to look at, but I like the Saints in this one. All right, moving on to afternoon. This one interests me a lot. Steelers at Chiefs. Steelers been struggling lately. Chiefs are on fire. Vin, what do you think?
I think the Chiefs keep rolling, especially last week, Big Ben throwing 5 picks against the Jags. Yeah. And now he's going into Arrowhead. I don't think they can pull it off, so I think the Chiefs 6-0.
I'm going to have to agree with the undefeated team, the Kansas City Chiefs. Big Ben is just too inconsistent this year. He threw 5 interceptions against the Jaguars, just like Vinny was saying. And he will eventually have a bounce-back week because I do believe he's one of the lead quarterbacks in the league, but just not against the Chiefs.
Yeah, we touched on it. Another tough stadium, Superdome with the Saints and Arrowhead in Kansas City. No one wants to go in there. I like Kansas City in this one. We touched on it. Big Ben, 5 picks last week, 2 of them for touchdowns. Steelers got to do a better job taking the ball. Big Ben's got to be better. That offense just has not been clicking. Too much talent for them not to click, so they got to figure it out over there in Pittsburgh. All righty, Sunday night, primetime. We got the New York Giants and the Denver Broncos. Vin, is this one going to be a bloodbath?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a shame it was too late to move that game out of the Sunday night game, but I think I'd rather watch the New York Jets play this game, to be honest with you. I'm going Broncos 31, Giants 3, if they can even score.
Ben?
The Giants are running out of wide receivers. They lost Beckham, Sterling Shepard, Brandon Marshall. It's time to call Victor Cruz back. I think you have to bring him back, and at this point in the season, you have no one. So it's definitely going to be the Denver Broncos to take this one.
Yeah, no OBJ, no Brandon Marshall, no Sterling Shepard.
Do you want to play this week?
Top 3 targets, but me and Coach against the best secondary in football, the no-fly zone. Yikes.
Not to mention Von Miller against that offensive line, too.
Oh, man.
Say a few prayers for Eli this week.
I don't know if that's going to be rated G, folks. Might be some abuse on that field. Alrighty, Monday night, Colts, Titans. Kind of an interesting one. If Andrew Luck and Mariota are healthy, this is a fun game. But who do you guys like in this one?
Well, I don't think Andrew Luck will be back, and the Colts are still the Colts. Mariota should be back, though, and they are home, so I think Tennessee wins.
Ben?
I'm taking Mariota over Jacoby Brissett. And also, Tennessee does have the second in the league yards per carry. So DeMarco Murray is doing his work. So with Marcus Mariota and DeMarco Murray, I feel like they can defeat the Colts.
Yeah, I like the Titans in this one, too. Mariota might play, but he's not going to be 100%, but they should take care of the Colts. I like the Titans in this one. Alrighty, coming up next, we'll get back into it with some fantasy football. Keep it here. Welcome back into Tossin the Pigskin. Now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, fantasy football. So, we'll start it off with the stardoms, as customary on this show. For me, I like T.Y. Hilton this week a lot. At Tennessee, him and Jacoby Brissett have been playing together for a few weeks now, have a little rapport going on. Hilton ate last week. I think he had over 150 yards. I mean, he was balling. And the Tennessee Titans are the 30th ranked pass defense against fantasy right now. So, I like T.Y. Hilton this week. Ben, who do you like?
I'm taking Mike Evans. He's at the Arizona Cardinals Stadium, and he'll primarily be covered by Patrick Peterson because he's the #1 cornerback. But Patrick Peterson hasn't had an off year. He's only had 2 caused broken passes, 0 interceptions. Mike Evans is going to have a field day. So,
Ben, what do you think?
I'm going with Chris Hogan, New England Patriots. You know, he's kind of stepped into that role with Julian Edelman out for the year.
Yeah.
So, and they're playing the Jets, so I think Tom Brady, Chris Hogan, that's a hookup you want this week.
Yeah, Pats are going to go off this week, I think that too. All right, for sittums, Ben, who are you sitting?
I'm sitting Big Ben, like we said earlier. Jaguars last week, 5 interceptions. Now he's going into Arrowhead. Maybe a touchdown, but I think he throws another, 2-3 picks this week, so I'm sitting Big Ben.
Yeah. Ben, how about you?
I'm going to take Martellus Bennett. He's going to be against the Vikings, and we all thought he was going to be a great tight end option coming from New England, but Aaron Rodgers loves giving the wide receivers some touches, so I really don't see him getting anything this week.
Yeah, I think it's just tough for him to get touches because that receiving core is the best in the league. You got Nelson, Cobb, and Adams. Man. For me, it's Tyreek Hill this week against Pittsburgh. Believe it or not, Pittsburgh's actually first against the pass right now.
Yeah.
Best passing defense in the league. So he's going to probably be covered by Joe Hayden and the rest of that secondary. So I don't really like Tyreek Hill this week. Chiefs have some other weapons offensively that they use. So sit Tyreek Hill this week. All right, for sleepers, I like Kyle Rudolph, Minnesota tight end against Green Bay. Just recently found out Stephon Diggs will be out, so someone's got to pick up the slack. I look for him and Adam Thielen both to have big days against a poor Green Bay secondary. Ben, what about you? Who's your sleeper?
This might be a stretch, but I'm taking a Cleveland quarterback. It's actually Kevin Hogan.
Wow. Deep sleeper. All right.
Yeah. He's going to be at the Houston Texans, but he's a consistent quarterback. He was okay last game, and this is the first time they're playing without J.J. Watt or Whitney Merciless.
That's true.
So I think he's going to have a better than okay day.
Okay.
So I feel like he might go off.
Keep my eye on that one. All right, Vin?
I'm going with Jamison Crowder, Washington Redskins. That offense really hasn't got going this year, and last year he was a huge PPR receiver, so I think him and Terrell Pryor have bigger games, but I'm starting Jamison Crowder this week.
All right. Yeah, lots of good stuff, guys. A lot of fantasy players to watch this weekend. That'll just about do it for us, folks. For all of us here at Coast to Coast Sports, thanks for joining us on Tossin the Pigskin. I'm Nate Smith, alongside Ben Vernon and Vinny Asito. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.